Hello, and thank you for joining us today for the Softengine webinar. Today's talk is a product demonstration of the Softengine B2B portal. Our host for today is Mike Beovich. Mike is the product manager lead, and together he and his team helped build this product. The solution came out of a real need that our customers had for a real-time solution that would eliminate the need for call centers by taking orders online and improving their client relationships with 24/7 ordering availability. I could say more, but I think Mike can take it from here. Take it away, Mike.
Thanks, Ashley. Hello. And as Ashley said, my name is Mike Beovich, and I'm the manager of the product team here at Softengine. I do appreciate you all taking the time out of your day to take a look at our Softengine B2B portal product. And while we're going to go ahead and move into the software here really quickly, I just wanted to touch on a couple of quick points as related to this software in general. So our software is built on SAP and OpenUI 5 technologies. The user experience was based on the Fiori design guidelines. And what that ultimately means to you is, one, it's going to look and act a lot like version 10 of Business One. If you've read or seen or heard anything related to the upcoming SAP version 10 and its new web UI, you'll no doubt see some similarities between this product and that new version of the software, because they're essentially built on the same platform. Also, from an SAP integration standpoint, we're syncing a lot more than just transactions as this data moves back and forth. A good example of that is that the end users of this system, your customers, are actually contacts within the business partner record of your SAP database. You just choose who you'd like to grant access to it. So if you're currently using any of the CRM components today, or you're considering implementing them in the future, this would definitely be something to keep in mind, as your customer will be assisting you in keeping those contacts up to date in your system. For those of you who may have just panicked a little bit, you can of course keep the users from the add remove portion of the application and your contact management for the ERP. Also, product accessibility and pricing are driven from straight SAP as well. That means no web maintenance or additional development costs are going to be required to increase or enhance these types of features. From the Fiori side, we're always going to be continuously expanding the tile and navigation options. We have a series of widget and tile options that we'll be taking a look at for the dashboard, and their values read directly from your SAP's database query manager, specific to that customer that's logged in. With the idea of sharing the same platform as SAP, we find that our SAP continues to expand their tile menu for their products, and as they do that, we'll obviously be able to make those different tiles available to you as well. Also, if you wanted to create a report for a customer to review or consume, you can actually build that as well within the SAP Query Manager, test and validate your results to ensure that what you'd expect them to be, and then enable them here for portal visibility. And then finally, the Softengine master layouts and forms that are pulled directly from SAP that you may have traditionally been used to emailing or printing and throwing in an envelope have been made available for your customers for printing and download. So that fantastic crystal report layout for an order and invoice, that form's reflected through the portal and would match just as if you had emailed it out yourself. So, what we're about to see. We're going to be taking a look at this product from two perspectives. First, we'll be looking at the admin console where you configure and tailor your customer portal. And then we're going to flip over to the portal itself and take you through your user's experience to see the options that we've implemented. Our admin console is where we place all of our configuration options that of course include managing users and security options, renaming fields within the software, or even creating your own language packs should your customers utilize other primary languages that are not English, and of course our product catalog, images, and other order processing options. On the portal side, we'll be going through the options of the workflow processes, of course, touching on things like dashboard widgets, navigation, reports, and of course, the buying experience. So with no further ado, let's take a look at what we got. So what we're looking at here is our administration console, and that's where all the configuration and options live for the Softengine web products. Because this application is shared with our other web applications, we're going to go ahead and just focus on two areas, the general administration and the customer portal administration. And to kick it off, we're going to come here to our general settings. It's this area where you can start your tailored experience. You can rename your portal and make a few decisions about product visibility. You have the ability to turn on and off visibility of available quantities for those of you who produce to order and don't want zero availability to act as an order deterrent. Our other visibility options include general UDF on and off flags, or for those of you who even private label your products, you can change visibility using SAP's BP catalog numbers. And of course, a custom query option for the incredibly deep. As an example of what I meant by build your customization in SAP Query Manager, you'll see here that my list of queries is pulling straight from that application. The idea being is that if you can put your hands on it to customize it in an application then we just lift and shift it over here to your portal so it's off and ready to go. Moving back to some other options that are available in here, we have an area called internationalization, and it's here you can rename any field throughout the system to reflect your nomenclature or business process, or even go so far as to create your own specific language pack, should you have a customer where English is not the primary language. There are some other standard options that you would expect, things like email settings for configuring password reminders or resets, and image settings for controlling things like logos here at the header, at the icon level, or at the login page, which you'll see here shortly. There is going to be one other feature here that I'm not going to cover too much at this point, and I'll show you over on the portal side, and that's called our customer or product characteristics. And that's going to be an area where we can add additional content to our products and deliver that to the customer portal user. From here, I'm going to quickly jump over to the customer portal administration area, and we're going to talk about a few options that we have. It's here on the portal side that all these switches and controls are at your disposal. It is here that we'll customize the B2B portal to handle things like featured product settings, which I'll go ahead and touch on when we move into the ordering. The ability to set specific required fields, so if you want to require shipping method selection, or if you want to require a purchase order or reference number from your customer, and then also date selection to determine whether or not customers can request a Saturday or Sunday delivery. As we move back here to this area, menu structure and dashboard configuration for things like widgets and tiles, which we'll talk more about when we get to the portal. You can turn on and off the menu structure, which again we will see. And then of course finally, the true user management experience. You can essentially create your own personas for your users, full administrator access or buyer, determining what levels of information people can see as part of this process. I'll go ahead and click back over here, and I think what we will do next is head on over to the customer business-to-business portal. To get there, I'm just going to take a shortcut, move over here to my customer portal, and it's going to go ahead and launch me a new web page. Of course, my portal name, which I named it over there, is now being displayed. Any logo that you would associate would be here, and of course the email address to log in. I go ahead and click login here. And upon logging in, you're going to see that I'm already presented with some options of which the customer I'd like to view. This login that I used is for a multi-facility buyer. So if your user is only associated with one customer, you'll go right into the software. But if they manage, say, a Kroger or a Whole Foods regionally, where they're buying for multiple sites or distribution facilities, they'll be provided a list of who they can access. I'm going to go ahead and select my customer here and move right into the software. Once you're logged in as a user, you can actually jump to one of those other companies that we had by just clicking right here, and you'll get the list of associated organization you can buy for, as well as some other user preferences. So if you prefer list versus tile, that language pack, or if you just want to change the color and theming in here in order to better match your color palette and scheme, you can do that as well. These values are cached, so your end user will be able to keep that same experience every time that they return. Go Go ahead and close this here. So what we're looking at here is the front page of our portal application. A simple navigation menu over here on the left-hand side, and dashboard navigation and analytics here in the center and on the right. As I indicated earlier, we have multiple card types available, and thus I apologize for the smattering, but we can have scroll bar, KPI analytics, general text components, message strips, and ultimately coming soon will be social media streaming and a few other options as well. So let's go ahead and start and take a look at the product catalog. So our catalog uses the SAP item and item group structure for displaying these items. In this example, we essentially set it up like grocery store aisles. We can also rename any of these groups if you find that your item group naming isn't conducive to customer access or ordering. I've found that some of our customers have just used abbreviation codes and such, and obviously we can roll those back out to make them a bit more palatable for your end users. Up here at the top, you'll find a little carousel of products coming from our featured product area that we touched on a little bit here in the admin console. These featured products are being driven from an SAP user query, and thus can be based on a specific customer if you'd prefer, rather than just being general. So this list can be a combination of new products, or it may be a list of your customers' top 10 frequently purchased items. The featured product window is not a requirement, and it can be turned off, but in the same set you can also force it to keep it open and change the scroll interval as you'd like. So I'm going to go ahead and start and drill into, say, some ice cream here. So by clicking here on the ice cream, when you pull up an item in the portal, and I'll just pull up this little 4-pack here, it provides you some base information specific to your customer. So you have your item code or theirs, depending on how you have it lined out, the quantity that's available currently on stock, and this is flagged by what warehouses you say to show available inventory. And then, of course, their prices. Now, we spoke about the quantities over on the admin side, and this is the field that can ultimately be turned off if you don't want to have it show 0. You'll also see that we have a few additional tabs down here at the bottom. So we have some additional images. You can add multiple images. I can tell you that I absolutely enjoyed searching for images of ice cream. It's been 105 degrees here as of late. And then we have this characteristics tab. So this is where I was referring to earlier, as it's kind of hard to articulate the function without showing some practical usage. So characteristics allow you to create any additional information or content that you would find important about your product, whether it's shipping dimensions, a product story about how this ice cream has been in the family recipe since freezers were created. In this example, you'll see we've placed something simple like nutritional facts and information. And again, this data can be stored and maintained within SAP and selectively made visible here. Then, of course, we have our alternate products, another function within SAP with a simple scroll bar to determine what products are visible and available in case the product that they are looking for is discontinued or out of stock. Since we're here, I think I'll just go ahead and buy some of this ice cream. To do that, I'll just go ahead and hit my add to cart, and you'll see that my cart value is now reflected as having an item. By returning back to my product catalog, I can continue to purchase additional items. You'll see that my 5 are already here within the cart, and I can continue to add from here if I don't feel compelled to drill into the additional item details. When you are ready to buy, you'll simply come over here to my orders area and click on new order, and ta-da! The item that we've already added to the cart has immediately been placed into my order pad and is ready for purchase. Should you find yourself wanting to add any additional items to this, you can of course browse back to your catalog, or we do have a nice handy add item function here. Our sidebar is an intelligent search, so if you know you're looking for something that's 16 to a box or a case, if you know you are looking for apples, So it does search either by description and or by name of what the product is. If that bar's a little slow or you're not sure, you can always actually expand it as well and get the full product listing based on that same search criteria. To complete the order, all we need to do is just go ahead and click this handy dandy save button here at the top. And it'll ask if we're sure we want to go, and ta-da! It is off and running. You'll see that your order has been successfully placed. And if I come here to my order numbers, there is my 472 and the order that is in there. In regards again to printing, I can go ahead and click print here, and it will provide me with the sales order template that is pulling from my SAP database. We can download it as a PDF or close. Another route to ordering items is reordering from your purchase or from the sales history historically. Very similar to duplicating a document within the SAP database. I can come here to my previous order. Actually, let me find one that's not open and is a little different. Come here to this previous order, and I'm going to go ahead and just say reorder my previous order. I can give it a new PO. I'll just call it Mike's PO. I'm going to go ahead and request delivery 2 weeks out or as soon as possible. These dates can be factored with some inherent logic if you want to have holdover. And please make it delicious. I can, of course, go ahead and add additional items. And one of the things I did not touch upon earlier was this logistics area. So these will pull from your existing SAP shipping methods. You can limit what shipping methods are available. And then, of course, if your customer has multiple addresses, you can select one or more for billing and shipping. You can also add a new address. So if the customer has a different loading dock or maybe an offsite storage warehouse, they can go ahead and key in that new address here and even save it for future use, adding that address record to your system. I'm going to go ahead and save this document here as well. Great. And what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to go ahead and pause my screen and flip over to SAP and show you where that order is landed and how it looks. Oops. Take my login. I'm going to go over here to my sales order, and I am going to go ahead and just wait for my system to wake up. And I'm just going to go ahead and find my last order. And you'll see here is the order that was ultimately placed. If you are using approval statuses, you can have it land as an unapproved order if you'd like. And you'll see this will offer me the same layout that I just saw within the B2B portal. We are getting a little close on time, but there's a few other things I just wanted to show you quite quickly. I know you've heard me mention using SAP's Query Manager, so one of the components I wanted to show you here within the Query Manager is some of the stuff that we build. So you'll see here in my custom reports area, I have a frequently purchased items and an incoming orders component, both queries that can be made and validated through SAP. And when I come back over here to my web platform, here under my reports, you'll see those two items also available. And this is what I mean by being able to tailor and customize your data, test it internally, and then push it out here to the system. Reports appear just as general text. So for some examples, we put frequently purchased items on quantity, currently on order, month to date, last year, incoming order items, so any planned shipments that are planning to arrive, PO numbers, and so on. All of these values can be downloaded as a CSV. You can jump between the two and it will refresh, or you can just force a refresh right here on the screen. Finally, the last couple of features that are here related to this portal are found here under accounting. So things like statement information and activity, balance information, also here, payments specifically. And as you go through and look, you'll see that again the system is consistent with pulling copies of invoices, payment receipts, all of the information is there and ready to go. And that is the initial release of our B2B portal product. Thank you very much for your time. And with that, I will give it back to Ashley. Thank you.
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Good, good. Talking to you live from the only room in my house where my toddler can't get me. So
I can understand that. So nice of you to join us. Thank you again. So as I mentioned, this is a live Q&A session. We have several questions that some of our guests had joined that had some questions, and I just wanted to run them through with you and see if you can address some of these.
Sure, great.
Okay, give me just a moment. All right, so question one. This looks like a two-parter actually. So how does this system find the customer's specific price? Is it just a price list, or will it handle the SAP's special pricings function?
So when the system validates the login, it will actually pull the pricing value from either the price list or any special pricing that the business partner actually has. Because we only have the ability to display one static price on the catalog, any volume or bulk discounts will be reflected back in the order once it's submitted. So it will always take into consideration any specific pricing that you do have on the date basis or volume basis. We just can only reflect one, so it's going to be the lowest level of detail, not reflective of quantities.
All right. The next question we have is from another anonymous user. Is the available quantities displayed available to promise or available to ship?
Yeah, so this is a really good question. So out of the box, it is available to ship. It's going to pull immediately what's available or shown as on demand for that warehouse that you've designated as a sourcing warehouse. But the system will actually allow you to customize that logic. So if you say have a 7-day hold period for any new order created, you can actually factor in any planned production and available quantities as part of that. It's just query math at the end of the day that you can customize.
Cool. All right, good to know. Next question. So when you were showing the configuration side of the application, you displayed 2 out of the 3. It had an employee side next to the customer. Does that mean that the internal salespeople can use this tool as well?
So we're actually in the process of designing the inside sales component of this, but we ended up shifting that back on our roadmap in order to complete our logistics and production scheduling system. So in the very near future, yes, but as of right now, it's just a simple B2B portal, but it will be coming here very shortly.
Keep your eyes out. All right, next question. Can we choose which products are visible on a customer by customer basis?
Yeah, so there's actually a feature within SAP called the BP Partner Catalog, and that function within your software allows you to essentially rename your items for a specific customer. So if you have product finished goods 1000, but your customer calls it widget, the idea is you can use that link to specify that customer's reference. And it's with that functionality you can quite easily just limit your customers' views to those products that have that ultimate flag, or you can add some additional query logic. But I would say the majority of our customers just use the BP catalog as it's often easiest, and it leaves your customer ordering from their item IDs rather than your item IDs.
Okay. Concise, quick question, and a couple people are asking about it. Can you set a standing recurring order?
So standing orders that are generated from the system using the Food One or Softengine Suite application will generate the orders to make them available here on the portal. We do have it planned on the roadmap by the end of the year to actually move standing order requests here to allow your customers to manage, add, and change their existing standing orders or set up reoccurrence for that. But anything that's actually being utilized today through the Softengine standing order functions, all of those orders will appear based on your date of generation.
All right. Last question we have here from another source. Can you customize anything in the menus or system on demand, or will we have to wait for revision updates to get new or customized features?
So in regards to it, just let me back up. It's going to depend on the level of customization. I didn't touch too much on the customization options of the menus, but the menus can ultimately be renamed, be turned on or off, even that specifically to which the reports are put in there and in place. The way that we built this product, we will continue to push monthly to quarterly updates of every additional function that is made available to us through SAP. I think I touched on it more related to tiles. So as additional tiles become available, you will see that those are inherently made available to you as part of that.
Okay, I think we have room for one more question. Let's see. If you could. All right, let's go with this one. If you are operating as a B2B transaction platform, could you offer your customer multiple vendor options for the same product?
That is a good question. We haven't necessarily integrated that type of function onto it as of yet. But if you have that need, I would encourage you to reach out to Ashley or the account manager, as we'd love to talk to you and find out what that scenario looks like for you.
All right. Do you have room for one more?
Sure.
Okay. So this one is a little bit more about customization. Will the images for the items be pulled directly from the attachment segments at the item level?
So our images actually work a bit closer to how your traditional e-commerce works, where they're loaded directly here to the portal itself. We did that because we found that there was some sizing issues transporting large images back and forth between SAP. So we created a simple UI to just bulk upload these images. And that way you can kind of control that entire user experience without getting some of the latency of trying to load or drag 6 meg images across the web.
As a graphic designer and web designer, I completely understand how that can be tricky from time to time. Well, Mike, thank you so much for giving us this product demonstration. You've been great. We still have a few more questions. Anyone who has any more questions, you're more than welcome to send us an email at info@softengine.com. We will be able to respond to any questions that you have or inquiries when it comes to customizations or when it comes to purchasing a B2B portal. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.
Yes, thank you.
Softengine, solutions that impact the bottom line.